Have you ever wondered what the biggest threat to a company really is? You might think it's the competition, but what if it's their own outdated rulebook? Today, we're going to dive into the huge evolution of risk management and how a job once tucked away in the IT department is now everybody's responsibility.
You know, it's the question that keeps CEOs up at night. One day, a company is on top of the world, a total market leader, and the next, it's a cautionary tale. And you'll find that, more often than not, the answer is buried in a really flawed, old-school way of thinking about risk.
These names, they aren't just history lessons, right? They're huge, flashing red lights. They are symptoms of a broken model of risk management, a model that looked at every threat in its own little box, totally missing how interconnected everything was and how that could bring the whole company crashing down.
So here's where we're headed. We're going to track how risk went from being silo to strategic. We'll take a look at today's digital battlefield, unpack the new toolkit for resilience, lay out a framework for who's accountable, and finally, see how risk can actually become a strategic advantage.
Okay, first up, from siloed to strategic. Let's dig into how risk management clawed its way out of the basement and into the boardroom.
At its heart, this whole transformation is a massive shift in mindset. I mean, the old way saw risk as just a cost, something you had to deal with. It was defensive, fragmented, and basically a game of whack-a-mole. But the new way? It sees risk management as a proactive, data-driven engine that actually creates value for the whole company.
And this table really shows you just how deep that change goes. But you know, the most important change isn't even the technology, it's the leadership. The person in charge isn't some technical expert buried in spreadsheets anymore. They become a C-suite strategic advisor, the chief risk officer.
So, this whole new approach has a name, Enterprise Risk Management, or ERM, and this is the framework that finally smashes those silos. It asks a really simple but totally revolutionary question. What if managing risk was actually the key to achieving our biggest goals, not just dodging bullets?
And what this really means is that the person in charge of risk isn't just a rule enforcer with a clipboard anymore. No way. They're a strategic partner, an alignment guru, which is a great term, who helps the entire business take smarter, more calculated risks so they can actually win.
So next up, the digital battlefield. Because this new strategic approach, well, it isn't just some nice-to-have corporate philosophy, it's an absolute necessity for survival.
Think about it. Today, the biggest threats might not even live inside your own network. They are hiding in your digital supply chain, all those software vendors and cloud services you depend on. An attack like SolarWinds proved that a single infected vendor can be a backdoor into hundreds of their clients, including top-secret government agencies. And now with AI writing code, whole new risks are popping up, like hidden bugs or sensitive data getting exposed by accident.
And what's really wild is this escalating arms race being fueled by AI. On one hand, attackers use it to create phishing attacks that are terrifyingly realistic. On the other hand, defenders use it for real-time threat detection. This means the whole game is shifted from human speed to machine speed, and any company not using AI for defense right now is already way behind.
So with threats evolving at machine speed, you just can't rely on old tools. Organizations need a modern arsenal to build what we call true resilience.
We hear these terms all the time, but they're really a progression. Business continuity is the big picture strategy. Disaster recovery is the nitty-gritty technical plan to get your systems back online. But IT resilience, that's the modern goal. It's a total shift in thinking from just recovering after you get punched to being strong enough to take the hit and keep on moving forward without even falling down.
For years, this is seriously what risk management looked like. Slow, manual work, spreadsheets, surveys, The data was often just someone's opinion. It was full of errors, and it was completely out of date the second the report was printed. It was a snapshot of the past, not a roadmap for the future.
But today, that's been thrown out and replaced by modern governance, risk, and compliance platforms, or GRC platforms. Just think of a GRC platform as the central nervous system for all things risk. It automates everything, uses AI to see threats coming, and gives leaders these real-time dashboards that are like a living, breathing picture of the company's risk profile.
Okay, so having the right tech is absolutely critical, but it's pretty useless if you don't have a clear structure for accountability. Everyone, and I mean everyone in the organization needs to know what their role is.
A really powerful framework for this is called the 3 lines model. It lays out 3 distinct but collaborative roles. The first line is the business itself, the people on the front lines who actually own the risk. The second line is the risk and compliance team that gives them expert advice and oversight. And the third line is internal audit, which gives the board independent proof that the first two lines are actually working.
And here's how it actually works. The magic isn't just the responsibilities, it's the reporting lines. See how the first line reports up to the second reports to the board, and the third reports directly to the audit committee? This creates a beautiful system of checks and balances where there are no gaps, no confusion, and a direct, unfiltered line of truth straight to the top.
Okay, let's wrap this all up. How do all these pieces, the mindset, the tech, the accountability, create a real strategic advantage? Well, when you combine that enterprise-wide view with a modern tech toolkit and crystal-clear accountability, risk management completely transforms. It stops being about playing defense and starts being about playing smarter offense. It gives leaders the data-driven confidence they need to actually innovate and chase growth.
So for any company that wants to thrive in this new world, these are the big 4 actions. It all starts with culture. Then you need the right tech hub, a clear accountability framework like the 3 lines model, and a real commitment to talking to your leadership in strategic terms, not just technical jargon. And that leaves us with one final, big question. It really gets to the core of this entire shift. How does your organization view risk? Is it a threat to be feared and avoided, or is it an opportunity to be understood, managed, and harnessed for a competitive advantage? The answer to that question will define your future.